Our top story today comes from Andhra Pradesh, where a major controversy has erupted in the temple town of Tirupati. Allegations of illegal land encroachments around the sacred Tirumala hills have triggered political tensions, with opposition parties demanding a full investigation. The controversy centers on accusations that land close to the revered Tirumala temple, one of the holiest sites in India, has been illegally encroached upon for private development. Opposition leaders allege that influential individuals with the backing of certain state officials have engaged in dubious land deals, potentially undermining the sanctity of the region. The Andhra Pradesh government has responded, stating that it is looking into the matter and assuring the public that the sanctity of the Tirumala hills will be preserved. However, opposition parties like Telugu Desam Party and others are demanding an immediate judicial probe, accusing the government of failing to protect sacred lands from encroachment. Devotees and the local groups have expressed outrage, fearing that such developments could harm the environment and the spiritual significance of the region. Protests have already been organized and more are expected in the coming days.
As the beef fat in Tirupati Prasad controversy explodes, Pawan Kalyan calls for creation of Sanatan Dharma Rakshana Board.
Sanatana Dharma Rakshana Board is very essential to keep the sanctity of temples alive.
The call to free temples from government control rises again.
अभी जो सरकार है पूरे पुराने सरकार के लोगों को तो नहीं निकाला गया है, हमको भरोसा नहीं है कौन पुराने सरकार के लोग कहां क्या गफला करके निकल रहे हैं.
Time to free temples from government control. Top focus on India first.
We have to constitute. Today, I've been thinking for quite a long time. I think I propose to constitute a Sanatana Dharma Parirakshana Board or Sanatana Dharma Rakshana Board is very essential to keep the sanctity of temples alive, and any kind of mismanagement, any kind of desecration happens to idols and all. I think it is not about one party, it is not about one individual. It is, I think all of us should come together. I think that's one aspect we are looking at, and that's what we are doing.
हम पूर्ण तरह से सहमत हैं पवन कल्याण जी से, और पवन कल्याण जी से आपके आज तक माध्यम से हम यही बात कहना चाह रहे हैं. पवन कल्याण जी, हम तैयार हैं अगर आप इसमें हमको भी शामिल करना चाहते हैं तो हैदराबाद में हम भी एक संस्था ऐसा शुरू कर देंगे, और चलिए जुड़ जाते हैं, इसको देर ना करते हैं.
साउथ के अंदर खास करके तमिलनाडु में मंदिरों पर सरकार का हक है. सरकार ने कब्जा कर लिया है. मंदिरों की संपत्ति को सरकारी मिलीभगत में हड़प किया जा रहा है. मंदिरों को तो लूटा जा रहा है, मंदिरों को तो कब्जा किया गया है, लेकिन माइनॉरिटीज के पूजा स्थल को हाथ नहीं लगाते हैं, सरकार के नियंत्रण में नहीं लेते हैं.
Of a Sanatan Dharma Rakshana Board or a special group to protect the Sanatan Dharma. Why this battle cry to free Hindu temples from government control? Why is this battle cry gaining ground once again? Temples have been calling for freedom to manage their own affairs for decades. In fact, some have argued that India got independence on the 15th of August 1947, but temples remain enslaved by governments and their revenue taken, as some argue, quite like invaders did pre-independence.
Huge row over alleged adulterated ghee used in Tirupati Prasadam. National Dairy Development Board's lab test on some samples of cow ghee procured by the Tirumala Tirupati Devsthanam contained traces of fish oil, beef tallow, lard or pig fat.
It is adulterated with animal fats. So it is lard, which is a pig fat, then palm oil and beef tallow, then fish oil included, rapeseed, linseed and all these things. It's like a concoction of all these.
The temple board statement comes days after Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu at an event meeting claimed that animal fat was used in Tirupati laddus
when there is actually government control over temples. So when the government is controlling temples, what is this board all about? The first step is to release and relieve the temples from the government board. The government has no business to be in the temples. The temples are meant for the Hindus and people worship. And I don't think any government, for that matter, I respect that they are not a part of the Muslim places of worship nor the Christian places of worship. That is how it should be. And why is this privilege not given to the Hindus? So I don't think Pawan Kalyan's recommendation of Sanatana Dharma Rakshana Board will make any sense unless and until the government relieves itself from the temples.
Let me bring in Karna Nandi into this conversation. Ma'am, is there merit in some Hindus saying why should government
protection? You know, I think it's important to understand that in this country, people of different faiths hold their faiths very strongly, and that those faiths are protected by their, their conception of God, whoever that is. That a board is not as big as God. So any sort of proclamation that you are going to come and protect a religion, I think is false, and it's to garner votes, right? But
or is it to protect a way of life? Why should government interfere only with Hindus is the point that Dushyant Sridhar had raised, ma'am.
I don't, honestly, I think one will have to look into it, because there were sort of very strong debates around this around the time that Act was passed, also around the time that the Constituent Assembly was considering these issues, right? So one will have to go into all of that. With regard to, I think, the animal fat problem, that should and must be dealt with under the FSSAI Act, and that must be dealt with under the existing law, because you can't tell people you are giving them vegetarian food and mix animal fat with that, right? Like, that's not acceptable. And there's a clear law on that.
No, but is this a problem that's restricted just to that? Is what I'm trying to figure.
The very premise is that only when bureaucrats manage, and those bureaucrats which are appointed by the government manage, the temples are being run well, will hold no water, because we've got people in the very own community who are well qualified, who can be appointed well. So in that case, how are churches and mosques being managed well? So are bureaucrats being appointed there? Second question, let's take the HRNC Act of Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu has the maximum number of temples and maximum number of ancient temples from the Cholas, Pandyas, Vijayanagaras, Nayakas, Pallavas. And it is also the state that has the maximum number of temples with the maximum number of institutions.
Annam Venkata Rama Reddy held a press conference displaying the lab report which confirmed the presence of beef tallow, fish oil and pig fat in the ghee sample. The centre has sought a report from the Andhra Pradesh government.
जो रिपोर्ट है जिस सोर्स से आई है, उस रिपोर्ट को पूरी तहकीकात करके उसके सारे पहलुओं को ध्यान में रख करके सूटेबल एक्शन विल बी टेकन अकॉर्डिंगली। जो भी कानून के दायरे में और जो भी हमारी नियमावली फूड सेफ्टी स्टैंडर्ड्स अथॉरिटी ऑफ इंडिया के तहत आती है, उसके तहत हम इस पर कार्रवाई करेंगे।
Deputy Chief Minister Pawan Kalyan called for a Sanatan Dharma board to look into all temple issues and urged a debate on temple management in the country. Jagan's party YSRCP has moved the High Court, accusing Chief Minister Naidu of making heinous allegations for political gains.
Animal fat గీక్ బదులు వాడినారని ఇదే పెద్ద మనిషి చంద్రబాబు నాయుడు ముఖ్యమంత్రి హోదాలో ఉంటూ ఒక ముఖ్యమంత్రిగా తాను మాట్లాడిన మాటలివి.
The BJP and Congress has trained guns on Jagan Mohan Reddy, seeking a CBI probe.
उसकी सीबीआई से जांच होनी चाहिए। सीबीआई के जांच के दायरे में आना चाहिए कि कितने रुपए का घी लिया गया, कौन चर्बी का घी क्यों लिया गया, और दूसरा प्रश्न, ये हिंदू धर्म के साथ घोर अत्याचार है।
We are demanding a CBI inquiry into this issue because it is not a small issue. It does not pertain to a small group of people, but to crores of people. We have also written to the Home Minister of India, Mr. Amit Shah, demanding for a CBI inquiry into this matter.
Allegations of adulterated ghee being used to make Tirupati laddus has become a political flashpoint. The state government now faces the challenge of restoring trust among devotees and preventing the situation from escalating to bigger crisis. With Apurva Jayachandran in Tirupati, in Andhra, Bureau Report, India Today.
As the controversy depends, all eyes are on the state government and the measures it will take to resolve this issue. We will continue to keep you updated as the story unfolds.